Welcome to the cave of horror! I'm just kidding, it's actually my garage where everything goes wrong. Let's get into it.
Previously on the MR2 build, there's still a lot of work that needs to be done on the car, but I took it for its first MOT in 13 years.
The only things that need fixing, it's quite a long list actually.
The main issue, however, was the check engine light that came on. There were two faults that popped up, and I know what one of them is, but I'm not sure about the other one. The engine's making a weird ticking, rattling noise, and I'm worried it might be the timing chain. We've got to find out what's going on, because if the engine is broken, this whole build was a complete waste of time.
You join me deep into the exploration where we're finding out why this stupid engine is rattling. I've got a few ideas. I've spent the better part of a week researching this stuff because it's been stressful, but I reckon I know what it might be. Fortunately, what I think it might be is the timing chain rattling. It's not a terrible job. For someone like me who has some experience, it's okay. For a beginner, it would be difficult, but it's still a long job on a car like this. MR2s, you can leave the engine in and take the timing chain out, but it is tedious. So I'm not looking forward to it, and I'm kind of hoping I can maybe find something else wrong with the car before I dive into doing the timing chain. Brings us neatly into why I have removed the bumper. So I've got a couple of ideas of what it might be. First of all, there was a heat shield here and there was a heat shield here. I reckon they might have been rattling. As I was taking it off, I noticed that this bolt, which attaches to one of the heat shields, wasn't actually connected. I didn't bolt it in at all. So I'm wondering if it may be, as the engine was moving, that was rattling. Symptoms wise, it's got some interesting ones. You can only hear the rattle when you accelerate up to about 2500 RPM. Above that it stops, below it stops. It happens on acceleration and off acceleration. Now, something that makes me think it's not engine related is because when you accelerate and get to 2500 RPM, it rattles, and as you accelerate more, the rattling stays consistent. If it was engine related, you would think that the speed of the noise would increase as the engine increases its RPMs. This would lead me to believe that this is more resonance related. So as the engine vibrates, it creates a certain frequency, and that vibrates something else. There's a lot of sheet metal on a car. In theory, it could be the vibrations from the engine are resonating the metal. So let's give this car a start and let's see if we can hear anything. Unfortunately, it still sounds like it's making the noise, so let's try something else. My next thought, which is also a possibility, is gases from the exhaust escaping through little holes. And as the gases increase, that increases the pressure, and that could make a little rattling. So let's take the exhaust off, let's have a look, see if there are any issues, and maybe that will be it.
I noticed there were a few bolts I just hadn't put back together, like this one that had snapped off and this one that connected the exhaust to the engine. I welded this flexi exhaust a couple of years ago, and I've definitely gotten a lot better with cars, but I can see there were a lot of pinholes in this, so I needed to fix it. I filled in the holes with some exhaust paste, and then I used some exhaust wrap to wrap it up so it's extra secure. Hopefully nothing else is going to come out of here now. I've also put some high temperature gasket sealer where the exhaust connects to the manifold. Hopefully this is going to seal that up too. Last was a little bolt that had sheared off, so I put a new one in.
I didn't realize how poor of a job I'd done before, but it looks like I've plugged up a lot of holes, so in theory that might be the issue. Okay, so I've drained the oil. I thought that was quite cool how reflective it is. And I just wanted to check to see if there were any bits of metal or anything in there that would obviously show that there's an issue with the engine. Ignore that, there was some dust in this box before. But this all looks absolutely fine. I've had some gloves on, I've felt around. It doesn't look like there are any particulates of metal in there. So I don't think it's engine related. Sorry, the audio isn't great. You can't really hear it. So you're just gonna have to take my word for it, but we did it! Oh my goodness, I had literally allotted like 2 days for finding this issue. That's taken a couple of hours. Yes, right. Oh man, that is fantastic. I love when it's not an engine out kind of fix. But yeah, rattle gone. It was obviously something to do with the little hole where exhaust gases were leaking away. Okay, crisis averted. Let's crack on with the build and let's get this car MOT'd and finished.
That meant the bumper and the rear of the car put back together.
Everything back together. This is where I was first thing this morning, minus the rattle, which is very, very nice to say. Next, I'm going to change the oil and filter.
Cool.
Old oil out.
New oil in. Boom. Get out of here, timing chain. And change oil. Done. Let's do the brakes.
Got brand new pads and discs for the whole car. I just want it to be good to go for years to come. First, I got to take off this spacer. Got 4 bolts here. Remove that. Then I've got to remove the caliper. Then I can take off the brake disc and replace the pads and discs. Put it all back together. Do it 4 times for the other wheels, and then job done.
There are 2 bolts on the back of the caliper that hold it to the wheel hub. It was rusted on there pretty good, so I had to whack it off with a hammer.
I needed to push this brake piston back in, but I was struggling to get it in, so I needed to get this bar out of the way. Couldn't work out how to get this side off. It turns out Toyota, in their infinite wisdom, made it so you just take the bolt out on this side, which is this one, and it just swivels out of the way. How good is that?
I started to use this brake piston compression tool, and I got the piston in a little bit, but because these pistons and brakes haven't been used for so long, it was pretty stuck. Here I'm checking they can actually move. Of course, when I was putting one of the bolts back in, it snapped off, so I had to weld a nut onto the end, and then I could use a spanner to get it off.
All right, that is one brake done, and I'm not gonna, no, do you know what? I will tell you how long it took me. Instead of looking up how to do this, I thought, I'm pretty good with cars. I know how to do this. I can work it out. It took me about 4 hours to do. Yeah, terrible. But at least it's done. But it might not be. This back one is also done. And this front one I was doing yesterday. But when I tighten everything back down, this binds. I realized that this disc is not quite the right size. I had a look at the listing yesterday because I ordered this as a whole thing from eBay. So it was 4 discs. 4 sets of pads. They all came in identical boxes except for the pads, which looked different, so that was obvious. The discs themselves came in these boxes, all identical. Do you know what? They do have markings on them. Silly me. The difference in diameter between the back and the front is about 8 millimeters, so not much at all. That's why the front right is binding, because the front right should be 255 and I've put a 263 on. So I'm gonna have to take that front one off, but that means that one of these sides is the wrong one. Looking at it, already you can see that doesn't quite fill out the space very well. So I'm wondering if this is gonna be a 255. It's possible that both the back ones I put on are 255. The only way to know is if I measure this one. If this is 263 millimeters, that means I've got to redo both back brakes. All right, 255, it's all good. That's how you learn things. I know how to do these back ones now, so this should only take me about 20 minutes, something like that. I'll swap the discs over, I'll do the fronts, and then we'll have a look at the final product. It's actually really straightforward, just swapping them over. It took me about 5 minutes on the front, 5 minutes on the back.
And there you go, one wheel done. This is a before, this is during with both plates, and this is after, looking so much better. I wasn't sure what to do with these center caps. I did originally think black, but then I decided to go for silver chrome, and I think they turned out really nice in the end. And this is what the wheels look like completely finished. I'm so happy with these, they came out amazing. This is exactly what I was hoping for. Next up is attaching the battery. This is the original battery carrier, and I'm welding a nut onto it so I can then screw a rod into it, and that will attach it in place. I've coated the whole thing with some Hammerite straight to rust paint, and because I've added a bigger battery, I need to remove this piece of metal on the top part of the bracket. Last off is changing these stupid battery terminal connectors to some proper ones, and then it's finished and looking so much better. We're getting very close to having this car ready for its MOT. I'd previously painted the rocker cover and it looked okay, but since I've gotten grease, little flecks of paint on it, so it needs a touch up. The paint was supposed to be red, but I'd say it's almost more brown orange. Still looks good though. This top engine cover has seen better days, and I wanted to touch up the silver paint. I tried masking everything off, but it was way too intricate, so I used a paintbrush. This is the final result, and I'm so happy with the engine. It looks fantastic. That was the last thing to do in the engine bay, so we can close it. And it's done. Very, very stupidly, I spilled some super glue on the seats. Here I'm using some black leather cream to try and fix it, and I think it turned out pretty well. The carpets needed a really good clean, and I got this Vax spot wash water pressure cleaner thing, and it gets it so good. Look at these before and afters. These are the last few final details of getting this car finished, and with the addition of my favourite air freshener, we're done. Now we've still got to do the MOT revisit, and on the way there, the check engine light popped up again. Luckily this time I took the OBD reader with me, and it was just an O2 sensor. This is a common issue on the Mark IIIs when you remove the precats. This was all the dust that was underneath the car, so I'm not surprised my paint job was dusty and bad. There was a lot of grease left over from the cutting compound, so I wanted to give the car a really good wash. The weather in England's been gross recently. Lots of rain, muddy roads, but that's not going to stop me having fun with the car. And there we have it. After nearly 2 years, the Toyota MR2 Mk3 is done. In the past 2 years, this car has taught me so much. There's been good, there's been bad, there's been everything in between. But we're leaving on a high with 12 months of MOT. Thanks to everyone who's been watching. I really appreciate it and I hope you've enjoyed watching. Catch me next week if you want to see my next project car. But for now, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe and I'll catch you later. Bye.